הנה מה טוב ומה נעים שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים שבת אחים גם יחד. How good it is, how sweet it is to be together on this day. How good it is, how sweet it is to be together in this way. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים שבת אחים גם יחד. How good it is, how sweet it is to be together on this day. How good it is, how sweet it is to be together on this day. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים שבת אחים גם יחד.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone.
Shabbat Shalom.
For those who are here in our congregation, for those who are home streaming, we are so glad to have you here, and we are glad to have Dan back with us. Now, when I say back with us, what I also know is that it's at least been 18 years that you've been visiting Temple Bethel. At least, is it more than that?
It's more than that.
What is it? How much more? How much more of that do you think?
It's over 20.
Over 20 years.
But who's counting?
But who's counting?
I'm
and
counting.
you haven't changed a bit. 20
Not
years.
at all,
Not at all.
Rabbi.
Not at all. 20 years. It's an amazing long relationship that we've had with you, and that you've had with, and the impact that you've had on the Reform movement and all of us in the ways in which we lead worship and pray and sing with joy. And so it is wonderful to have Dan here with us this evening on Shabbat, and also tomorrow evening with our Havdalah. So we are so excited. And we're excited that we're actually, re-emerging into this space of being able to be together. And so I want to take a moment just to actually invite you to turn around and say Shabbat Shalom to the people who are around you. And you may actually need to go a little ways, but say Shabbat Shalom and welcome one another here. In Pirkei Avot, in the ethics of our ancestors, we're taught that there were 10 things that were created at that moment of twilight. The Hebrew that is used is Bein Hashmashot. And that means that Shemesh is the word for sun, and Bein Hashmashot is sort of between two suns, right? What is the thing that happens between two suns? Is this twilight, at least that we're talking about, that our Jewish tradition says these 10 things were created. And it's that moment of twilight, which we have right now. That moment of twilight where we sort of remember and think about what has been, and we imagine what it can be and what is going to happen. And our society is in this moment of twilight right now too, right? Of pandemic and a slow burning trauma, and looking at the unknown future of everything that's happening in Ukraine. And it can feel unnerving and unsettling. This twilight hour is when our Jewish tradition tells us that we are called to remember what can be, the things that are possible. And we do that by doing exactly what we're doing, by being together, by lifting up our voices, by seeing the creative possibilities that we have in our souls and how we are united with what we call the one, Echad, God. So as we light the Shabbat candles, as we bring in the Sabbath, in this moment, liminal moment in our lives and in our world, let our prayers tonight lift up peace, hope, possibility, and creativity for our future.
And if you are joining us from home, we hope you're lighting your Shabbat candles as well as we light these candles here in the sanctuary in a moment. Here we go. Please join me. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat. And we set this time as sacred, as set apart, as holy, together with the words of Kiddush. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav, v'ratzavanu, v'shabbat kodsho, be'ahava uvratzon, hinchilanu, zikaron lema'aseh v'reshit, ki hu yom techila lemikrai kodesh, zecher litziat Mitzrayim, kivanu v'acharta, ve'otanu kidashta, mikol ha'amim, v'shabbat kodshecha, be'ahava uvratzon, hinchaltanu, Baruch atah Adonai, mekadesh haShabbat. Amen. L'chaim. It has become the tradition in our congregation in recent year and a half, since Rabbi Nichols joined our beautiful clergy team, that we take time each and every week to share the blessings that are in our lives with one another, to mark with gratitude and with joy the great things that are happening in our lives. So in just a moment, we're going to sing the words of Shehechianu. Dan's going to lead us. But before we do that, could you share with us what are the things that you're so happy that have happened in your world this week? If you're joining us from home, you can type into the Boxcast. Rabbi Nichols is watching that thread and is going to let us know what you share. And if you're here in the sanctuary, what are the things that are wonderful that have happened in your world this week? Gratitude for a successful surgery. Anyone else? What great things have happened? Eliza is visiting, a young adult at home. There are snaps and fingers shining here in the sanctuary. Jillian went to camp? Jillian's going to camp. After 2 years. Anyone else? Oh. First time in the sanctuary in 2 years. Mazel tov to acceptance to a great college. A first time, not the first time in the sanctuary in 2 years, a first time at a service ever. And I think that we're all particularly grateful that we get to have Shabbat with Dan tonight. We join together in the words of Shehachian.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam שהחיינו וקיימנו והגיענו לזמן הזה. Let's sing that blessing again. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam שהחיינו וקיימנו והגיענו לזמן הזה.
Candles are lit, the sun is setting, our voices are strong, and it is time to travel deeper into this Shabbat together. The words of Lecha Dodi, a liturgical poem that greets Shabbat as a bride. This melody is by Alana Arian, and it's really fun, and it brings me a lot of joy. We hope it brings you joy tonight as well.
Lecha Dodi לקראת כלה בני שבת נקרבלה. Lecha Dodi לקראת כלה בני שבת נקרבלה. שמור וזכור בדיבור אחד השמיענו אל המיוחד. אדוני אחד ושמו אחד ושמו תפארת ולצילה. Lecha Dodi לקראת כלה בני שבת נקרבלה. Lecha Dodi לקראת כלה בני שבת נקרבלה. לקראת שבת לכו ונלכה כי מקור הברכה מראש מקדם נסוכה סוף מעשה במחשבה תחילה. Lecha Dodi לקראת כלה בני שבת נקרבלה. Lecha Dodi לקראת כלה בני שבת נקרבלה. התעוררי, התעוררי, כי באורך קומי אורי, אורי אורי שיר דברי, כבוד אדוני עלייך נגלה. Lecha Dodi לקראת כלה בני שבת נקרבלה. Lecha Dodi לקראת כלה b'nei Shabbat nekabela. In your house, do you stand up and face the door? Okay. Boi v'shalom ateret bala, gam b'simcha uv'tzola, toch emuneh am segula. Boi chala, boi chala. Lecha dodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. As we move to Baruch Hu, the call to worship, as I'm switching capos, I want to ask a question of the room to hold and think about before we're about to pray this. What is something in your life that you feel you've been called to? Something in your life that you have been called to. Ya la 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 la, 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 ya la 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 la. Am I awake? Am I prepared? Are you listening to my prayer? Can you hear my voice? Can you understand? Am I awake? Am I prepared? Ya la 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 la, 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 ya la 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 la. Barechu et Adonai HaMevorach, Baruch Adonai HaMevorach, Le'olam Le'olam Ha'ed. Ya la 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 la, 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 ya la la.
We move from the Baruch Hu into two prayers before we get to the Shema, a prayer for creation and a prayer of revelation. And as I was thinking about the prayer for creation today, I was drawn to our Torah portion, Vayakel, that talks about the creation of the tabernacle, the traveling temple that the Israelites built in the desert. And thinking about all of the creation that took. That it took all of the skills that the people could bring together to build this holy space for God. It's coupled in the Torah portion with a reminder to celebrate Shabbat. And for that reason, the ancient rabbis decided that the definition of not working on Shabbat should be not doing all the things that it took to create the Mishkan. They took the 39 different activities that were used to create the Mishkan and said, these are the 39 things that define work. Now, as someone who likes to create things, often as my Shabbat practice, I think it's a reminder to us to not feel the pressure to create. What we feel all week with work is that pressure to create, and that Shabbat is an opportunity to appreciate what has been created, and perhaps I would augment it to also appreciate what we can be creating, but to not feel that pressure and obligation that we feel during the week. So we bless God's creation and appreciate the sacred space that was made back then and the sacred space that we are in or viewing and creating our own at our homes. And we move from that prayer of creation to the prayer of revelation. And I think having a sacred space enables us to be more open to that revelation. So we continue with Ahavat Olam.
Ahavat Olam Beit Yisrael Amcha Torah u'mitzvot, chukim u'mishpatim, otanu limadeta, otanu limadeta. Al ken Adonai Eloheinu b'shochbeinu, u'bkumenu נשיח בחוקיך ונזמח בדברי תורתך ובמצוותיך לעולם ועד כי הם חיינו ואורך ימינו ובהם נגה יומם ולילה יומם ולילה ואהבתך אל תסיר ממנו לעולמים ברוך אתה אדוני אוהב עמו ישראל Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad Baruch Shem Kivod Malchuto Leolam ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך ושיננתם לבניך ותברתם בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך וקשרתם לאות על ידיך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוהים אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
When we're approaching Mi Chamocha, I like to imagine the Israelites crossing the sea, right? That's what they're doing right before they get to that moment. But today, after rereading this week's Torah portion, I started to imagine them a little differently. Because in this week's Torah portion, we are told all of the things that the Israelites donate. They donate goat skins and linens and dolphin skins and gold and silver and wood. And I realized they must have been carrying all of it. So today, as we sing Mi Chamocha, we have to imagine that they were kind of loaded down with all of their stuff. And so crossing through the sea was not just about getting themselves across, but getting across all of these things that they were saving to be able to give to God. So that it was a longer and a harder walk through that sea, but getting to the other side enabled them to make that holy space. Mi Chamocha.
מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נדר בקודש, מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נדר בקודש. נורא תהילות אוסף אלה, נורא תהילות אוסף אלה, אדוני לעולם ואין. מלכותך ראו בניך, בוקע ים לפני משה ומרים, זה אלי אנו ואמרו, זה אלי אנו ואמרו, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ואין. יאי לה 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 Yai la 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 la. Yai la 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 la. Yai la 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 la. Yai la ya 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 la la. Ya la la. Yai la 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 la. Eternal One, help us remember that the jerk who cut us off in traffic last night is a single mother who worked 9 hours that day and was rushing home to cook dinner, help with the homework, do the laundry, and spend a few precious moments with her children. Help us to remember that the pierced, tattooed, disinterested young man who can't make change correctly is a 19-year-old college student balancing his apprehension over his final exams with his fear of not getting his student loans for next semester. Remind us that the scary-looking bum begging for money in the same spot every day, who really ought to just get a job, is a slave to addictions that we can only imagine in our worst nightmares. Help us to remember that the old couple walking annoyingly slow through the store aisles, blocking our shopping progress, are savoring this moment, knowing that, based on the biopsy report she got back last week, this will be the last year they go shopping together. Eternal One, remind us each day that of all the gifts you give us, the greatest gift is love. It's not enough to share those gifts with those we hold dear. Open our hearts not to just those who are close to us, but to all humanity. Let us be slow to judgment and quick to forgiveness and patience and empathy and love. Hashkiveinu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom Hamidenu Shomreinu L'chaim. Spread the shelter of your peace over us. Guide us in wisdom, compassion, and trust. Hashkiveinu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom Hamidenu Shomreinu L'chaim. Save us for the sake of your name. Shield us from hatred, sorrow, and pain. Hashkivenu Adonai, Eloheinu l'shalom. V'hamidenu shomreinu l'chaim. L'chaim. L'chaim.
We savor this moment of Shabbat with the words of Vishamru.
Vishamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, לעשות את השבת לדורות אמרית עולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורות אמרית עולם. ביני ובין בני ישראל אותי לעולם, כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני, עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ, וביום השביעי שבת ויהי נפש. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורות אמרית עולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת.
The words of the Amidah remind us to wrap ourselves in the threads of language, the wisdom of prayer, the silence that allows us to hear our own heartbeats, the opportunity to lift up God's light, which is inside each and every one of us. In a moment, we'll rise with the words of Amidah, and we'll sing together, and then we'll continue in silence with the prayers on the pages, the prayers in our hearts. And when you're ready, and your prayers have concluded, you may be seated. Please rise.
Yalla lai lai lai, yalla lai lai lai, yalla lai lai lai, yalla lai lai lai. Adonai sivatai tika, ufi ahiti atecha. Adonai open up my lips.
ratzon imrefi vegion libi lefanecha Adonai Tzurit Vigoali Adonai Tzurit Vigoali May the words of my mouth and the meditations of my heart be acceptable to you, O God, my rock and my redeemer. Yiyu liratzon Veglion libi lefanecha Adonai Tzuri Vigoali Adonai Tzuri Vigoali I'm glad, I'm grateful. I'm blessed to be with you tonight. I wanted to sing a couple of songs for you tonight. Maybe there's somebody here tonight, either watching online at home or here in the room, that is just noticing that they're holding on and aware of that feeling lasting for a while. If you're feeling that, this one's especially for you. It's been a long night. The air is still cold. A bird is singing her morning song. The fog is lifting. The day is dawning. The night is praying. The day won't be long. We need some new words, a new perspective on all that's breaking our beating hearts. We all have stories, nightmares and daydreams. When we can hear them, the healing starts. Oh, we want the prizes up on the midway. We get distracted by all the lights. We hope to focus our best intentions, so the road is paved with what we did right. Our time is precious. Our task is holy. It's where we are now. Let's call it fate. So let's take our anchors and give them sky hooks. Our souls are eager to lift the weight. The day has blown by. The trees are tired. The day is praying. The night won't be long. At the beginning of our service, you might remember that I said something about the Baruch Hu, our call to worship. I think the first time I heard that was in religious school, Indianapolis Hebrew congregation. Maybe being in second grade or so, and hearing, please rise for the call to worship. I think I knew it as that before I knew it as Baruch Hu. Maybe I'm not alone. Okay. Well, I just mentioned that because if we think about the Baruch Hu at the beginning of our service as a call to worship, kind of beginning like a open parentheses to what we're about to do at the beginning of our service, then we're kind of coming up to the conclusion, the closed parentheses of our service. And Aleinu l'shabeach, where we're headed next liturgically, is a call. It's a call to action. Aleinu l'shabeach quite literally means it's on us. And it strikes me as curious. A few years ago, I was in a synagogue doing synagogue Friday night Shabbat work, getting ready to sing and play. And the rabbi had us all in his office before we were about to go out onto the bima to do the work. And he said, oh, listen, we have a lot packed in this service. We've got a baby naming. We've got 50th anniversary blessings. We've got birthday blessings. We've got a sisterhood bake sale. We've got a lot of things going on. So we might run short on time, whatever that means. We might run short on time, and if we do, we'll just cut Aleinu. And I couldn't stop myself, and I went, but wait, you can do that? And he said, yeah, not a problem. If we run short, we'll cut Aleinu, we'll go right on to Kaddish Yatom. We have to do Kaddish Yatom. No one will even notice. Well, in fact, the service did run long, whatever that means, and we cut Aleinu, and I went to the Oneg. I had the brownie and the lemon bar and the decaf coffee, and nobody said anything about Aleinu. And it started a conversation with Cantor Ellen Dreskin. What's Aleinu supposed to be doing? How are we using Aleinu l'shabeach in our service? Do I even know what I'm saying when I'm singing it? Do I feel a sense of, this is on me? Have I been changed since Baruch Hu to go out into the world to do something that matters, that makes the world better? Have I been changed in any way? Through that questioning and those studies, Cantor Ellen Dreskin and I wrote this setting for Aleinu l'shabeach, and we're going to use it tonight for our Aleinu l'shabeach. And you are invited to rise as you are able, and we are praying Aleinu l'shabeach. It's up to us to call ourselves to task, to sing what's good and true, to bring about redemption. It's what we were free to do. For what's the point of being here if we're not moved to change our ways? Aleinu l'shabeach. It's time to live our praise. The words change, the tune is the same. We are carrying the stories of the ones who came before. What stories will be told of us when we are here no more? We commit ourselves to action. It brings meaning to our days. Aleinu l'shabeach. It's time to live our praise. It's up to us to hold the vision. We are an answer to a call. It's up to us to live the words we speak for the benefit of all. It's up to us to bow down deeply. There's a broken world to raise. Aleinu l'shabeach. It's time to live our praise. Aleinu l'shabeach. It's time to live our praise.
Please be seated. There is so much work for us to do. And sometimes the work is prayer. Our thoughts turn to those who are in need of healing, body, mind, and spirit. In our hearts and in our minds, we lift up any sense of brokenness within ourselves. We lift up those we know and love who are hurting in our circle of family and friends. We lift up those whose names we do not know, yet those for whom we long for an end to pain, struggle, and suffering. On this Shabbat in particular, we lift up our Ukrainian family and all who are embroiled in this terrible war. As we prepare to offer the words of Mishaberach tonight, we first offer the words of Rabbi Natan Steinhartz, who was born in Ukraine in 1780 and the chief disciple of Rabbi Nachman of Bratslav. He wrote, and we pray, "May it be your will, Adonai, our God and God of our ancestors, that war and bloodshed should vanish from the earth, and we may know a great and wondrous peace, so that nation will not lift up sword against nation, nor will they study war anymore. May all the inhabitants of the earth come to recognize and know the truth that we were not brought into the world for the sake of war and discord, not for the sake of hatred or jealousy or bloodshed, but that we were brought into the world that we might know you and your endless blessings. May Scripture's promise come to pass. I will grant peace to the world that you may settle there, and none will make you afraid. I will spare the land from vicious beasts, and the sword will never again pass through your territory." We all say, Amen. God of goodness, God of peace, grant healing to your people. In our hearts, here in Charlotte, in our families, and in the Ukraine, we join together. Mishaberach avotenu mekor haberacha leimotenu. May the source of strength, who blessed the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our blessing, and let us say, Amen. Mi sheberach imotenu mekor haberacha lavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shelema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen.
As Dan and Cantor Thomas said, there is so much work to do, but often we are inspired by the people in our lives, and some of those people are no longer with us, but continue to inspire us in the work we do and live on through that work. We remember in our community in the period of Shloshim, those lost to us in the last 30 days, Robert J. Gentile, Janet Horsley, Harriet Honey Kreidel, Norman Allen Lieberman, Jeffrey Rettig, Christine Ritter Vanderpil, and Jean Simmons. And we remember the yahrzeit, the anniversary of the passing of William Adams, Ellen Myers Edelman, Max Ahrens, Yetta Behar, Diane Beitcher, Marilyn Berkelhammer Benson, Rita Myers Blyman, Jane Brink, Lily Rachel Brown, Renee Bucksbaum, Israel Chesler, William Donovan, Harold Dressner, Baron Elam, Joseph Ellenson, Marty Faberman, Ernest Fenster, Herbert Foster, Gloria Madow Glazer, Celia Goldfarb, Marvin Goldman, Edward Sayre Goldstein, Ida Herlick, Julia Kahn, Lonnie Kahn, Dorothy Kaplan, B. Carton, Glendine Keeling, Patrick Kennel Sr., Harry Kessler, Rebecca Lavitan, Marshall Lindner, Irving Livingston, Fred Long, Dorothy Matos, Ada Miller, Miriam Nachman, Harry A. Norman, Edwin Nykiel, Ruth Patt, Cabell Philpott, Elise Pinto, Martin Pollock, Rochelle Prozano, Herbert Rice, Benjamin Harold Rosker, Mark L. Rothman, Gussie Rovman, William Royer, Daniel Sadler, Julian Robert Saley, Elias Bitar Samahan, Joel Schwartz, Nathan Schwartz, Gary Schwartzbach, Clara Shaw, Sam Silverstein, Joe S. Tobias, Robin Weinstein, Marjorie Steigelmeyer-Wetzka, Samuel Udell. If you are remembering someone this Shabbat, I invite you to share their name out loud with our community. Zichronam Livracha, may all of their memories be for a blessing. We rise as one community in solidarity with all those who mourn to recite Kaddish Yatom, the mourner's Kaddish. Yitgadal v'yitgadash shemei Rabbah, be'alma divrach irutei yamlich malchutei, v'chayechon u'yomechon uv'chayei l'chol beit Yisrael, ba'gala v'zman kariv v'imru amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah v'varach le'olamu al me'al maya. Yitbarach v'yishabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh. V'yitadar v'yitalev v'yitalal shmei d'kudusha b'richu. Leila min kol birchata v'shirata, tush b'chata v'nechamata, da'amiran be'alma v'yimru, amen. Yehi shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chaim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'yimru, amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav, huya se shalom, aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'yimru, amen.
Oseh shalom bimromav, huya aseh shalom. Aleinu v'al kol Yisrael ve'yimiru, amen.
You may have noticed that the yahrzeit list was not correct tonight. We apologize. I'm not sure exactly what happened there, but the right list was read, so thank you. We have lots of things happening in our congregation coming up. One is what? Purim?
Purim is very soon. So you're welcome to sit down so I can tell you about Purim. On Sunday, March 13th, you can start at 10 a.m. with the Purim family craft. There will be things for kids of all ages to make and play in anticipation of Reality Bites. I have to get the title right. Reality Bites the Megillah, a 90s Purim spiel. It is clearly the best decade, and we want to remember all of the boy bands and all of the other music from that decade.
Haman's here tonight.
He is?
Boo.
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 You'll have to come on March 13th to find out.
All right, Haman is in the sanctuary, but he will be booed shortly, March 13th,
Or she.
11 a.m. And then from here, you can go as a crowd to the community-wide Purim celebration, which will be held up at Camp Mindy this year. So a full day, hopefully come in costume. And then on Purim, it's Erev Purim itself, which is Wednesday the 16th at 6:30 p.m. From 6:30 to 8:30, Rabbi class will be at the Old Mecklenburg Brewery, so you can come by and have a drink and toast to Esther and Mordechai and boo Haman one more time.
Boo.
That was so
It
quiet.
was like, it's a warm-up boo. It's a warm-up boo. We have 2 weeks.
Two other things I want to tell you about. One is that there is a security presentation being sponsored by the Brotherhood on Wednesday, March 2nd at 7:30. It will feature Michael Philback, who's the Director of Security for Shalom Park and the Foundation of Shalom Park. We encourage you to come and hear what's being planned for Shalom Park, what we're doing here at Temple Bethel to continue to make us safe and make us feel safe as we come together as a community. And finally, Sunday, March 6th at 11:15, there is a Welcome to Temple Bethel. If you joined Temple Bethel in the last 3 years, it hasn't been really a normal joining. I know that. So that morning, you are welcome to come and learn more about Temple Bethel, what's going on here, meet some of the staff and lay leaders and clergy, and meet other people who are new to Temple Bethel or new to Charlotte. Those are just some of the things. So please do check out our website to find out more. Back to you.
Well, thanks to all of you for letting me join you tonight on making this Shabbat special. Thanks to Cantor and rabbis all for allowing me to. We have a cue sheet. We have a plan. You see this? It's a real thing. We actually have a plan. And appreciation.
I just needed to say once too that it's Nichols and Nichols on the beat.
Oh yeah.
Rabbi Nichols, how many times were you asked if you're in fact related to Dan Nichols this week?
So many times. I've been writing it in every email. And by the way, we're not related, but I wish we were.
Would you be mine? Could you be mine? Won't you be my Nichols? Okay, how do you segue from this? Well, I want to just own that I took liberties with the order of the service today. I really messed that up, and nobody messed it up as well as I. No one on the planet could mess up the order of a service as well as I did. So, way to go, Dan. Good job. And thank you all for holding me in it and allowing me to do my thing. And we're all okay. We're all fine, but I just want to own it, okay? And thank you very much, Canterbury. Okay. Being with you, even this way, even with the masks and the social distancing and the Zooming and all this, I still feel stronger for being here. And it's this product of being in relationship. And I wouldn't be here without a Jewish summer camp experience, helping little 9-year-old Danny Nichols. And I think about it every time. And I haven't been with a large room of people in a long time, and it feels great. And I'm most grateful to hear your voices sing with me or sing out. It's just absolutely holy. Our closing song is Chazak. We say this phrase anytime we finish a book of Torah. We say Chazak, Chazak v'nit chazek. Be strong and let us be strengthened. It's a way of marking the moment, saying we've been doing this for a long time. We're doing it again right now, and we're going to keep doing it because it's good for us. That's how I feel about this Shabbos with you. We have come from near and far to raise our voice in song. And the more we join in the refrain, the more we feel strong. Chazak, Chazak. There is a power in this place and time. It shapes the rest of our lives. For when we return each year, we find a truth we can't deny. Be strong and let us strengthen one another. Be strong and let us celebrate our lives. Be strong and let us strengthen one another. Chazak, Chazak, v'nitchazek. Chazak, Chazak, v'nitchazek. As we sing, we link ourselves to those who came before. And we're one with all those yet to come. Our strength, it will endure. Be strong and let us strengthen one another. Be strong and let us celebrate our lives. Be strong and let us strengthen one another. Chazak, Chazak. Be strong, let us strengthen one another. Be strong, let us celebrate our lives. Be strong, let us strengthen one another. Chazak, Chazak. Be strong, be strong. Chazak, Chazak, v'nitchazek. Good Shabbos.
Shabbat Shalom.
You are welcome and thank you. Hi. I'm good. That's all.